Tanya is my type of lady. Sorry about that, Rick, but not only she brings us to a kick-ass museum.
It doesn't open till 12.
She even tells them, you know what, we're here, give us the key early. I thought I could only pull things like that off. Oh gosh, the smell in here. Look at this. Oh my God, guys, this is incredible and in such good nick. Oh, guys.
Yeah, you think something like this, nothing could get you, and then that comes over the hill.
True. Look at this monstrous thing.
There's a movie on YouTube where they pulled one of these out of a lake. Okay, after like 50 years. They pulled it out of the lake, and son of a gun, with just a few little tinkerings of it, they got the engine started.
They got it started. Because you were telling me they used to hide them in lakes, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, they did that, or when the Germans were coming, so that they didn't use them, because the Germans would just slap on some swastikas and use these things, so they would destroy them, or they would hide them so that they could come back and get them again. Well, sometimes they forgot them, or forgot where they put them, things like that. Then somebody comes along with a metal detector and detects this giant metal thing underground, and they'll strap on a bigger tank than this. Like, what? You can't tell the size until like I don't come over here to it. Now you can really see.
This guy's like a basketball player, 7'2".
But then that one, you'll see on YouTube, they pull it out, and you see a bunch of guys, and they're all, I have her interpret the Russian that they're saying. Basically, they're saying, we got to get all the ammunition out first, because all the shells are still in there, and all the machine gun shells. And they've taken the machine guns out of here, but the one that they pulled out, the machine gun was still there, and all the machine gun shells that are this big, and then the giant tank shells come out like this.
Unbelievable.
And they just line them up on the side of the beach. And, you know, so they're scared if one goes off, all of them could go off. So they do that first, and then they start tinkering with the engine. But the Panzers, the front armor and everything, was always straight. So if you have 8 inches of armor, it would penetrate 8 inches. The Russians said, no, we're going to slant all our stuff. So 8 inches, when you go like this, the shell has to go through so much more. You almost triple the amount of armor without adding any armor to it. So that's why you'll see all the Russian tanks have this angle. I think they stole the idea from the M4 Sherman tank of America, because you'll notice the Sherman tanks are all like this.
Look at Tanya, she found the helmet.
Oh yeah, I wanted him to wear the helmet. If it was
Let me
still
try
here.
that. Let's go, Tavarish.
This in the United States is called a Joseph Stalin tank. It's a JS-1. This is the tank that was towards the end of the war and also was used into the 1950s. These are the tanks that you see when you see pictures of the Soviet Union going into Berlin. It was late in the war, and these tanks were huge. This is comparable to one of the German tanks that the Germans had back in the early 1940s. The Russians designed this one based off of a T-34, and you'll see the T-34 down there. But it's a T-34 chassis that was made to accommodate the heavier turret and the heavier gun. That is a massive gun, but that's what they were using when they took Berlin.
You know what's fascinating? How do you know all this?
Like, I collect Russian items.
Yeah. Oh.
This is a personnel carrier. Believe it or not, they're still using in Ukraine.
Today, in the war, they're using these.
Because these are the mothballed ones that have been in storage, and they've got tens of thousands of these just sitting there doing nothing. And Putin has had to pull these out.
Wait, Russia's using them in Ukraine, or the Ukrainians are using them in Ukraine?
Probably both.
Both. They're fighting each other with the same.
No, but they've got more modern ones. Like I think they're up to a BT-80, but they've got so many of these that from the 40s on up to the 70s. These were probably in Afghanistan too. But it's interesting because you not only have the steel plates here, but this is all bulletproof glass too. And it's not made to go up against the tank. It's made to go up against personnel or infantry that they'd run up to. They come out the back like this, while this 20 millimeter gun and machine gun take care of the other person's infantry.
Could we climb up on these things?
The first, they have to have cameras here because I climbed up on one and within seconds they were here telling me, get off.
So I've got a few seconds. Guys, you feel this and you imagine the weight. I mean, the amount of power it must take to just move one of these. How much horsepower are these engines?
I would like to be in a trench and have this thing
coming up to
you. The noise on one of these, you put stuff in your ears. If you had 20 of these in a field coming at you, this is a 150 millimeter gun.
So this one is wider, but that one's longer. Which one's more powerful?
Well, they're made for two different purposes. That's for tank and infantry and taking down buildings. This is a self-propelled artillery piece. So normally this gun is up and they're firing like this.
Into fields and things.
Before they could get this artillery up to the lines. T-34-85. This came out second. T-34 was the first one that came out. The first one that came out, the first ones the Germans ever saw, was the smaller version, but the speed that this had, I mean, they would time it to shoot like this, and by the time they fired the gun and this thing started going faster, it would go right past and the shell would go past. And they couldn't believe how fast these things were, but they realized they were being outgunned still with the Germans, because all of the Germans had 75 to 105 millimeter guns already. The Soviets didn't come out with anything higher than 75 millimeter until pretty much after the war. 105 millimeter. Now, today's tanks, 125 millimeter, which is just slightly less than self-propelled artillery. But you need that for the penetration power, because Panther tanks, the Tiger tanks and all that were so powerful that what they would do is they'd put logs up and they'd string those logs on the side of the tanks, trying to explode their armor before it penetrated there. So they would put extra stuff up, because these types of frontal armor, and notice again.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah, but this has about half of what the armor has today in width, but to save weight, now they have the activated armor on the front, which is a little box. You'll see the boxes on all the modern tanks. What it does is, when the missile comes in, it hits this box, which explodes, and explodes out like this, explodes this before it even hits the frontal armor. So therefore your missile is exploding outside of the tank and spreading, and not doing any damage to the inside. So you'll see on today's tanks, especially the Russians ones that are always in the news, these little boxes all around the turret. You can hardly see the turret anymore, because that's what these things do, and the armor-piercing shells don't have a chance. This is the German Rabbit. We know a guy in New Jersey that actually found one of these in Germany, and he was rich, and he had the whole thing imported into his house, and he had this in his garage.
No way.
And there's so few of these, and this is the one that you see in Saving Private Ryan that the guy is running around with.
Buddy, check your ammo! Good luck, Rabbit! I don't need any luck, Sarge. I was born lucky!
And his works. It's in his garage in New Jersey, and it works. Now this is an anti-tank tank. So this, because it doesn't have a turret, it was really to be defensive in action, because it could only go this way and this way. but it had a much more powerful gun and a longer gun. The longer the gun, the more accurate the shell and the further it can go. This didn't go in, didn't charge. He stayed as a defensive thing so that if you're being attacked with an offensive or a counter-offensive, these things would stay in the farmhouses or camouflage in the fields, and they would just pick tanks off. This is German. This is their personnel carrier. You'll see these in all the movies too. It's basically like the American half-track. But all the German movies have this, and you always see the big setup here with their German helmets on. Sometimes they had a machine gun up front. But as you can see, the Russians had it all enclosed.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
They were very vulnerable here because they were never enclosed. I mean, it looks like they could put a tarp over it, but no protection.
Yeah.
The airplanes would just come down, strafe these things,
Thank God.
Or if you were at a hill, you just come this way, and nobody could really get out. They don't have the German Panzer IV.
You can get a bit of a peek. Oh no, you can't. It's got the. You see, it's got 4 aircraft painted on.
Yeah, shot down 4 aircraft.
But do you think that's real?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this thing actually shot down 4 aircraft, guys.
I believe it, and 2 artillery pieces. That's a 20 millimeter gun. Also, in Saving Private Ryan, if you want to see the damage a 20 millimeter gun can do, just watch this particular scene in that when all the guys were up on the tank, the German tank, and this 20 millimeter just, I mean, you just explode in pieces.
Guys, you just stop and think for a second that we go by, we live our lives, and there are people somewhere right now that might be in a field and something massive like this could be heading towards them. I mean, what the fuck do you do? You can't run for it. You just, what do you do?
And guess what? Compared to today's tanks, like the German Leopard, the ones that are being sent over there, and the M1 tank of America, the Abrams, dwarf this.
Really?
Have you ever seen one in real life?
No. Are they even more intimidating?
Oh, incredibly intimidating.
That looks like a dragon coming towards you.
Alone we've got 125 millimeter guns. And that was huge for World War II.
That's madness. Look in here, guys. It even still smells of diesel. It looks, I mean...
Well, I hate to say this, but these all run.
These all run?
These all run.
They're all run. And they take them for a run. They have a schedule, they take them out.
Made to last.
They have to keep the oil
going.
And
I come across sometimes Soviet-made hair dryers. I came across a Soviet whisk for beaten milk, cream and stuff.
Still working.
Still working. This is like 50 years old. It still works. Yeah. My brown at home that I bought 2 years ago is already giving me problems. No, I want to keep it. Do you think do you think I get away riding the scooters with this on my hat around Riga? I don't want to get crash it again.
I get you one from the market. From my friend.
Get him a German one.
From my friend.
That's so cool. I had to remove the hat because I think the kid might want to try, I was being selfish because I really, really wanted to keep that helmet. This magnificent place is located right next to what they call here a muizha or a manor. As you know, at one point here in Latvia, there were German landlords that owned the land, and they have all these muizhas. My favorite beer called Valmiera Muizha, which means the manor of Valmiera, which is a city. But during the Soviet times, this was converted into a school. And what's interesting is that the guy who bought this actually graduated from this school, and he built all of this. And today it's a hotel, restaurant, museum, all in one. And guys, if you come to Latvia, I'm not even saying Daugavpils, if you come to Latvia, this is well worth a visit. Let's go and get ourselves a cup of coffee and see what this old school, old muizha, new hotel looks like. It's called the Svetines Muizha. I'll put the Google location in the description as well as any links they may have, because that whole museum tour for 3 people, 10 bucks, 10 euros. Happy days. You're the best looking one here and you're never in frame. Guys, take a look at this. Look at the detail on this fireplace.
That's the heater too.
Look at this, guys.
Honey, look at this.
Oh, this one.
Wow, look at this fireplace, guys. I mean, you can imagine once upon a time this would have been really a majestic place. I mean, it still is. But you can imagine this would have been someone's residence once. Oh, is there a wedding today?
Yes.
A wedding, yeah?
That's a wedding, but birthday. Maybe.
Birthday, what time? I'll come back.
Yes.
Very nice place for a birthday, huh?
Look at this. Isn't it?
Go on, crank it up, Rick. Crank it up. Let's see what's playing. Ooh, give it a try, we'll find out. Don't look like you're doing something wrong. Yeah, it works. It works, guys. This is spinning.
The needle needs to be changed. You haven't changed the needle. Yeah, it's working.
It does work. Need some new speakers, I think.
You can't touch this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You cannot open it and touch it, yeah?
Oh,
it's
sorry.
closed because it should be closed.
Okay, great. As they say, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. What a surprise. You really pulled it off, mate. Thank you so much. Guys, this was an amazing day. Completely unexpected. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And as a matter of fact, the video you're watching right now, we've actually edited together. Guys, enjoy your journey. I'll see you on the next surprise.